and welcome to our Wednesday morning class. We want to welcome you that are here in person and you that are joining us online this morning. We also want to welcome you and include you into the class today. Okay, we're continuing on a rather controversial subject, and we're looking at it from different angles and different points of view. Reincarnation. I personally think before you understand reincarnation, maybe we should understand better incarnation. How can you understand reincarnation if you don't understand incarnation? Because re means again. So what is it that is happening again? We're looking at it from different points of view. We're not teaching this as a settled dogma or doctrine. We are not teaching it as an absolute truth. We're teaching it in ways in which we ourselves can begin to put it together in a way in which it becomes what, remember, Gene Davis calls self-knowledge. Self-knowledge. Remember those classes on anti-aging? Telomeres, yeah. But the whole idea that it must be self-knowledge, not David's knowledge, not Jesus' knowledge, not another prophet's knowledge, but it needs to be self-knowledge. Now, the place that the prophets had and the teachers of the past have had was really to facilitate and to remind us of our own self-knowledge that we have pretty much forgotten, that has ended up in the state of unconsciousness. So that's really the position of teachers and prophets, is just to remind us and facilitate and give us a space in which we can begin to remember what is already within us. I personally don't believe there's anything new under the sun. I don't know that there's anything for you to really learn that you don't already know. I just don't think you understand everything you know. I want you to think about that just a moment. How many times do you say, I knew to do that, but I didn't understand why I was going to do that? Yeah. You ever have that moment? Yeah. That moment that you're intuitive? That moment that you just knew you're supposed to call somebody. And you say, well, I just knew I need to call you today, but I don't understand why I'm calling you today. Or sometimes when I'm speaking or somebody else is speaking, you have this knowing, but the brain is still trying to catch up and understand what you know. So knowing is always first before understanding. And sometimes we have the cart before the horse and we try to understand before we know. So understanding is something that we do in the sense of process of learning, I guess. But knowing is innate and inherent within us. You'd be surprised how much you know that you don't understand. So today, may we broaden our understanding a little bit and expand our consciousness on this subject. The fact that I believe we're entering a time of multidimensional consciousness and moving from the point in consciousness of linear to more parallel consciousness. And I think that is the true symbol of the cross. Not the Christian cross, but the cross point in consciousness, where we've moved in the linear and we come to a point where we can see a different point of view, such as I don't have, but I need to get. Now that's linear to me. That's lack. I don't have it, I need to get it. So we just keep striving for something that we think we don't have. There's a point in consciousness where you realize that what you've been seeking in the linear already existed in the parallel. And that's why there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that is. One of my favorite ecclesiastic scriptures is everything that was, is, everything that is shall be. So at that point, there's no really future or past. It's all present. Okay? So as the teacher, Yeshua, told his followers, according to English translation, when they saw the chaos of the time, which was 2,000 years ago, of the breakdown of an old covenant, of an old age of law, and we know that what? Chaos precedes transformation. If you haven't learned that here, you've not learned anything at HeartLight. that any time there's a time in which something repatterns itself, it goes into chaos to reorganize itself. Something cannot be reorganized until it goes into chaos. So that's what we're living right now. We're living the chaos. We're living the crisis, or the breakdown, I call it. And breakdown only happens because what? Somebody tell me. What's the only reason for breakdown?
To build up. Build back up.
That's a good answer. Not the one I'm looking for. That's a good one.
So you can break through.
Break through. Thank you. Michael got it. Gets the star today. The only reason things break down because something is breaking through. And what do we choose to do here at HeartLight? Are we going to try to fix what's breaking down or work with what's breaking through? How do we do that? What's one of the best ways? There's a lot of ways to do it, but what's a one way to do that to help break through, happen more easily and effectively into breakdown?
Non-judgment.
Non-judgment is a good...
Meditation, contemplation, and experience.
Okay, all of these are good answers. Think vibrationally. Think frequency.
Raise our frequency.
Think tuning forks.
Raise our frequency, yeah.
To change our frequency.
What can you do with vibration? Such raw vibration as a pure tuning fork vibration. And what can you do with tuning forks? If you sound two tuning forks together, what are you creating?
You're creating an interval of sound.
Uh-huh.
A chord.
Okay, an interval becomes a vibrational pathway. So you're opening pathways between densities and dimensions so that what's breaking through has a pathway to come in. And the more the new comes in, the more the old begins to not be so in control and powerful. So that's kind of a interesting time to live through, and for some reason, I believe, you may not, but I believe that I chose to be here at this time. I don't think I'm an accident. I don't think I just been thrown here because two people got together and decided to get together and produce a child. I think that it was all divine guidance that I chose to be here at this particular time. What's the time I've chosen to be in is the time of living between two worlds. A world, again, that is breaking down and a world that's breaking through. So when they came to Jesus, the world was breaking down pretty much of what had been in the Old Testament, the Yahweh, all male, oh God out there, law, 613 laws contained in ordinances. All of that was breaking down, and of course it was going into chaos. So when they came to the teacher and said, how do we know what's going to be the end of this world? I want you to get that. This world, not the planet, the aeon. Well, how do we know the age is going to end? And he starts saying, well, there's going to be shakings in places there's never been shakings before. Earthquakes, he called it. And there's going to be nations rising against nations. There's going to be all kinds of turmoil and all kinds of crises and chaos that's going on. And he said the most interesting thing to them, because on the linear, they was looking over to another time to solve the problem. But the teacher said, look up. Don't look over. Don't look over in time space. Look up and realize all that you've been working to attain because you think you don't have it was already present with you all the time. Look up. Today we would say raise your vibration. Raise your frequency. And that's why I think tuning has made such a debut into consciousness for the last couple or so of decades, that more people are using sound, vibration, frequency, tuning forks, bowls, anything that makes a pure vibration seems to attract millions of people today because there is innate desire to be tuned to what's happening. If you're not tuned to what's happening, then the ego mind will resist it. So who was it that said, become the change that you are seeking?
And
So.
also, like, before
before you get a download, there's a loud vibrational tone that goes through you and everything.
Yeah, the primal
Yes.
tone. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, wow, just so much. I thought this was going to be about a week or two class, but wow, we're about the 6th or 7th, I think. I know you do. I know you do. Okay. Thank you for your understanding of my stuff. So anyway, one of the teachings that has woven through me, and there's many teachings that are woven through me. I do not believe any teaching out there is absolute truth. I think all of them hold some things that are true, but very many of them, in fact, most of them do not understand the truth. Two different things. What is true is based upon a premise of some kind. This is true because, if you're a Christian, because the Bible said it. If you're Jewish, because the Pentateuch or the Kabbalah says it, or the Quran says it, or this, that, and another. Nothing against those things. I'm just saying that people build what's true on some premise of something they really can't prove is the truth. So, and I've taught you here, and you should be able to answer this, what is the truth? Oh my God, if you don't do that, I'm going to start you all over again. You're going to have to go through this whole thing, 5 years. I am the truth. I don't have the truth. Truth is not a philosophy. It is not a theology. It is not a perception of the human brain. It is an identity. I am the truth. Say it with me. I am the truth. But I seek for what is true to me. So whereas truth is absolute, the only absolute I know, what is true is relative to whatever your belief system is. So what teaching system are you attracted to? Kabbalah, Bible, Quran, Course in Miracles? You know, everybody's kind of attracted to a different set of teaching, which I kind of like, because I do believe the universe is into diversity. I think it likes diversity. When I look out there, I see diversity. I don't see all red flowers. I don't see all lettuce coming out in the garden there. I see a variety of things. When I look out on Sunday morning at HeartLight, I don't want to see all the same color of people and the same belief of people or the same anything of people. I want to see the variety and diversity of people. It's more challenging, by the way. It's easy to get everybody that looks alike, thinks alike, and whatever. That's easy. And that's why religions, organized religions, are bigger, because it's simple. Believe this, believe that, dress this way, look that way. And that's easy. Try to deal with the diversity of even a small group like HeartLight, because all of you are attracted to different things. Some of you want to do Reiki. Some of you want to do tuning forks. Some of you want to meditate. Some of you don't like to meditate. Some of you like this. Some of you are in the Course of Miracles. Some of you don't like Course of Miracles. It's a diversity here that I have to deal with every time we come together and try to find some place that we can meet that is holy ground within ourselves. And when you get into holy ground, I say, take off your shoes. Remember that? Take off your shoes when you get to holy ground. And feet are understanding metaphysically. Shoes are the bindings of our feet or the bindings of our understanding. So all I ask is, when you come here, take off your shoes and the bindings of your understanding and stand on holy ground and be still and know I am God. That's the only requirement that I ask. So, again, I'm not giving you the absolute. I'm not saying this is the way that you must believe about any subject, including our subject reincarnation. I'm giving you some different information for you to run through your innate intelligence center and see if it resonates into your consciousness, self-knowledge, that you will know. I hope you understand that. I know I go through this so much, but it's the foundation of what we're doing here, is trying to awaken in you what has been put to sleep by the outside world. Religion has put more innate consciousness asleep than anything with its dogma and doctrines. It's a time to awake, thou that sleepest, and shake thyself. I like that. Shake thyself from the dust, for the glory of the Lord shall rise upon you. What a great scripture. First, arise, change your vibration, and vibrate, change, retune the dust. So we're trying to shake the dust off here. So, the fact that we are in parallel consciousness means that we've also entered into multidimensional consciousness. Back to what is true means that maybe what is true for you is not true for me. So what we have to share is truth. We always have to come home to the center of truth, and that is, I am. Say it.
I am.
Stop. I don't want to hear no labels. I am a Republican. I am a Democrat. I am a Christian. I am a this. The minute we label it, we've put the I am in ourselves asleep. And we identify with the label. And then who we truly are, we do not become who we are. We become what society, culture, and religion. And as long as I'm not you and you're not me, out of that will come a great issues that we see today of being against one another. If everybody could just, I said for one day, for 24 hours, if everybody could not use one label and just stay in the I am of themselves, would transform the world. In fact, the world would disappear. The world of my illusion would disappear, because that's all the world is. It is a projection of all the stuff we think is right and true that isn't. And the greatest art that you've been given to do is the art of learning how to be in the world, help me out, but not of the world. Whoa, that's it. That's the whole thing. In the world. I got to be in the world. I got to have a roof over my head. I need certain things to survive in this 3D dimensional world. But I don't have to sell my soul to it. I don't have to let them miscreate me in their image and likeness. See, religion would like for you to be a certain thing. Politics would like you to be a certain thing. Everything, every system wants you to be conformed into their ideas and perceptions. And a lot of you here, because at some place you said, I'm not conforming. And you were seen by your family as rebellious. What is wrong with you? You're not following the tribe. You're not following the religion of the tribe. And you started being a self-thinker, and I guarantee you that's how you entered into New Thought or metaphysics or whatever, is when you said no to being conformed by the systems of this world. Instead, I'll give you this, be conformed. Can anybody know this, that's Bible at all? Be conformed by the renewing of your mind. Be conformed by the renewing of your mind, not their mind, not the preacher's mind, not the rabbi's mind, not the priest's mind, not the guru's mind, your mind. That means I have a mind in me? You do. And I'm not talking about your brain. In your brain is a mind that resonates with the heart, which means you've got more heart in your brain than you know of. and you've also got some of your neurons of your brain in your mind. So, saying all of that brings me to,
I have a question.
yes.
So are you saying that, what I'm hearing is that within our DNA, there's a need to worship?
The what? Say it again.
And within our DNA, because of all the things that we're seeing, been taught, what have you, whatnot, that it grows with us, and then we kind of like develop within our DNA a need to worship God or worship.
Oh, that's a whole different subject.
Yeah.
You're going to get me on worship and all that. That's a whole teaching. I'd be glad to do it. Well, no, I'm glad that meant whatever was said popped up something in your, but I want you to know your answer is in your question. And I'm more than glad to address that at some point. If I do, I will go off that trail. But I'm glad to talk to you about that because it's important. You know, there's a place where it says, Jesus asked the people of the Old Testament that we're transferring over, go tell them they know not what they worship. I like A Course in Miracles. Jesus said, you don't need to worship me, for I have no ego to receive it. But you need to worship because that means you love something, and when it puts you in a state of love, that's who you are. Isn't that beautiful? I have no ego to receive your worship, but when you worship, that means you're extending love to something, and therefore, love is who you are, so you need to do it. But you don't need to do it to manipulate me, saith the Lord, kind of thing. You're not going to make me do anything less or more for you because of all the worship. But you need to learn to be in a state of consciousness of praise and worship. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's all right. I'll put that on the burner, back burner. Good. So I gave you, I started out with one perspective coming from A Course in Miracles. Now, as you know, I'm not a total advocate for A Course in Miracles. There's things in A Course in Miracles that I do not resonate with at this time. Doesn't mean I won't 6 months from now or 6 weeks from now. But that's with everything that I've studied. Every path that I've studied didn't mean right at that time I got it, but picked it up maybe 6 months, 2 years later and went, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Stay open to that. But I wanted to see what A Course in Miracles said about reincarnation. And I think it gave a spiritual point of view, which is very different from a mental point of view. See how multidimensional we are? We got a spiritual point of view, we got a mental, and we got an emotional point of view, and the most dense is the physical point of view. So you've got different layers in you that information is going through. But from the ultimate, purest state of consciousness that we refer to as spirit, today it's pure energy, we say, rather than spirit, a more religious term. But coming from a spiritual point of view, it starts out this way, and I'll give you the first line. In the ultimate sense, get this, in the ultimate sense, reincarnation is impossible. I went, oh darn, that's not what I wanted to hear. Why? Because there is no past or future. The idea of birth into a body has no meaning either once or many times. On a spiritual level, now stay with me. On a spiritual level, why would the spirit need to return over and over and over again if the spirit is the ultimate, absolute essence of that which we call God, Creator, whatever you call it? No reason at all. Can't add to it, can't take away from it, doesn't need to come back and learn any lessons. Spirit is the essence of the I am truth. You can't add to truth. So I had to think this over. The only question should be, is the concept helpful? And that depends, of course, on what it is used for. if it is used to strengthen the recognition of the eternal nature of life, it is helpful indeed. So you see, it's not like being against it. It's just putting it in its place from a spiritual perspective. If any other question about it is really helpful in lightening up the way, like many other beliefs, it can be bitterly misused. And I do think reincarnation is something that can be misused, that people don't understand. The fact that you have to be responsibility to your own making of your life by your choices and your thoughts and whatever. If you have this idea of, oh, well, if I don't get it this time, I'll get it the next time I come around. Yeah, and that's why I think this reincarnation thing, even on the level that I do believe in it, is coming to an end. For me, again, I cannot speak for you. I just have to wait and see if people resonate that with me. But I know for me, on a mental, physical level, this is my last time in third dimensional incarnations. It's over. And I've talked a lot about that here, how I'm living 4 lifetimes in this one, because that's my contract. In other words, for me to get to the level of consciousness that I'm attaining in this lifetime would have taken me in linear coming back 4 more times to attain to it because of free will on the planet. And that's why you make contracts before you come. Because when you come down here and forget who you are and you go to sleep in the density of the body, and then you're totally a free will agent, and you start choosing how much you study, how much work you do, how much spiritual work you really do, because you get caught up in the marriage, having children, keeping the body healthy. I mean, do you realize how much of this takes our time? Our time is totally taken up with all these things. Going to family reunions, keeping birthdays. Oh my gosh, I mean, we are just totally about 90, 85% just living on the physical level, trying to make everything work the best we can. The only way to have probably done this would be go out and get a place on the mountain and get off the grid and not have to work for anything, grow your own food, take care of your own self, and just spend time meditating, contemplating, studying, and reading, and doing deep soul work. How much of that are you doing in a day, a week, a month, or this year? This year is going so fast. How much of this year would you say you have put into your spiritual work? It would be different for some of us here. Some of you look to HeartLight for Sunday morning, Wednesday. The rest of the time, maybe you're just trying to deal with third dimensional, everyday, mundane life most of the time. So you see, how fast you grow is up to you. Nobody can make you do that. It is your choice on how you want to regulate your priorities. That's why one of the great spiritual laws is seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and things will be added to you. We don't believe that deep enough. We don't. If we did, we would do as Buddha said, detach, detach, detach. But we're too attached. And I know some of us don't like to hear about that, how attached we still are with our first chakra tribe, family, all that kind of things. There's a place for that, but it can't be your whole life. And I think probably, I'm meddling now, I'm meddling. And probably the worst one is the innate ability of the mother. I mean, how close is it to form a life in your body as an extension of yourself and not continue to want to be a part of that to the point of many times of trying to control the destiny of that? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I just want to say to you, the children that has come from you and the children that has come through you, it's 2 different things, and some of you know the difference if you have more than one child. They can be as different as night and day because one came from you, Another soul chose you and came through you. And if they did, take your hands off of them. Quit trying to, I don't know why I'm saying this. Speak, Lord. Take your hands off their life. You cannot change them and control them and what you want them to be. Support them. They're on their path. Thank you, Dorothy. They're on their path. Support them for the path in which they are on.
Just an example of what you're talking about. My daughter gave me a shirt that said, "Do less, God bless."
I say amen to that.
Especially when it comes to raising kids.
Anyway, I don't know where that came out, but I'm trying to put things in perspective to you. I just recently had my daughter, my 2 grandkids here for a few days, and I'm no different from you. I have family ties. You know, I have a grandson that looks like me. I've got a daughter that looks like me. I'm looking at their life and all of these things, and there's things I don't really care for that I would like to see change in them. But I can't mold them and shape them into my image. I can't do it. They're on their path. So I'm saying that because I think the more that you kind of find a balance in letting that go, that you'll free up some energy for you to do the work you need to be doing. Time is of an essence right now. Use it. If you don't use time, time's going to use you. It's going to march right across your face. Use time wisely. Fulfill those contracts. And if you're not, I'm really going to get in trouble now. And I'm speaking to me because I've got some issues I don't care for that I'm going through on physical, mental levels. Don't you dare put me in some illusion that I've got it all together because I can get up here and talk like this. I'm walking this thing out just like you are. I've got my aches and my pains. I've got some things that I don't want to have. And I'll speak me. The reason I believe that I have them is because I'm not listening. I'm not listening to the voice of Spirit in me. And therefore, I have to be put into a position to get my attention. Now, I know this after 23 years of doing Soul Energetics and tuning forks, which really should be 85% preventive. It's only been probably 10% preventive because people don't come looking for things like tuning forks and energy healing until they get a diagnosis from the doctor or have some kind of a physical, mental, emotional breakdown. Then they get desperate and they start looking for answers. Why do you think my folks had a guy come every year with a little tuning fork and tune my piano so the piano wouldn't go out of tune? They didn't wait till it went out of tune and said, we need to get the guy here. Every year, let's just make a time in which he comes and keeps the piano tuned so it doesn't get out of tune. Back in the day when we tuned our cars, you know, when you had to go tune your car before computers, you did it because you didn't want the car to break down. You didn't wait till the break down of the car and say, okay, now I've got to find somebody to tune my car. But the hardest thing is being people to say, come and get a tuning now. Oh, but nothing's wrong with me. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'm great. So just take that that's all free. You don't have to even give me money. That's just free. That's just free. So incarnation would not understand any circumstances be the problem that is dealt with now. So now is a spiritual thing, right? I'm not talking about the now of time and future. I mean, if your definition of now is now in time, try it. Keep your mind on now. No, now. Now. Don't leave now. Good luck. So now has to be a transcendent of time. Now has to be a state of consciousness that always is. It's not something that was. It's not anything that becomes. It is the state of isness. It says in here, our purpose, it would not be helpful to take any definite stand on reincarnation. So I like that. See, I can handle that. Whether I agree with them or not, I can handle somebody that says, okay, we're not absolute. We're not saying this is the only way to look at it. It would be helpful to not to take a definite stand on reincarnation. A teacher of God should be helpful to those who believe in it as those who do not. And that's the way I feel. If you don't, fine with me. I'm not trying to convert you to believe in reincarnation. Reincarnation is a very personal subject to come up with for yourself. Don't let somebody make that decision for you. If a definite stand was required, it would merely limit one's usefulness as well as his own decision making. In other words, it misplaces your power. Okay, I'm just trying to go through a few things. It cannot be too strongly emphasized that this course aims at complete reversal of thought. Hey, that's a good one. That's what the course is. It is a reversal of thought. When this is finally accomplished, issues such as validity of reincarnation becomes meaningless. We should learn both and teach that theoretical issues are but waste of time, draining it away from its appointed purpose. Does this mean that a teacher of God should not believe in reincarnation himself or discuss it with others who do? The answer is certainly not. If he does believe in reincarnation, it would be a mistake for him to renounce the belief unless his eternal teacher advised. That's your answer. When do you stop?
Will you read that again, please?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does this mean that the teacher of God should not believe in reincarnation himself or discuss it with others who do? The answer is certainly not. If he does not believe in reincarnation, it would be a mistake for him to renounce the belief unless the eternal teacher is so advised. So if you get a nudge from your internal teacher, okay, reincarnation is not an issue for you anymore, move on, there's more important fish to fry, move on that way. This is not a subject that's going to help you one way or the other. And that's when you put it what? On the shelf and not judge it right or wrong, good or bad, and you hold it in the shelf of contemplation without judgment. So I really don't know where any of you are on this subject. You really haven't made a specific statement on it, but maybe we'll do that before this is over and open it up for let you, after the end of the series of these teachings, kind of where did you come to with that for yourself. A little bit more out of here and we'll move on. The emphasis of this course always remains the same. It is the moment that complete salvation is offered to you. Oh, now, I try to come from these different points of view of different systems of thinking, but I have to throw mine in too because that's my experience. Some of these things are not my experience. They're just things that I've read that I resonate with, that I like real well because they resonate with me and they're kind of part of my belief system. But that's different than my experience level. When I experience with it, then it's a whole different ball game. So I'll take a few minutes to share my personal experience with this subject. I personally, because I do follow the teachings of the Christ, you know what I mean, the Christ, which was the mind of God in Jesus, Yeshua, and others. I do not believe Yeshua or Jesus is an exclusive teacher, but I do think that he came to the consciousness of universal mind in himself, where the other prophets pretty much came to enlightenment. To me, enlightenment and identity can be two different things. Buddha definitely was an enlightened being. And any of these that are the forerunners of major religions in the world most likely had great experiences, no doubt about it, but I don't know that they really tapped into universal mind. So that's my following, and maybe that's my background, influence of Christianity. I don't know where it comes from, but I do believe that using the story of Yeshua as the Christ is a good metaphor to what's going on in my consciousness. And that's a point in my consciousness where I came and acquainted and connected to the universal mind in myself. We call it Christ consciousness, but it's really universal mind. If you're a God person, it's the God mind, however you want to call it. It's universal mind. One of the many things that I think happened at that point, 2,000 years ago, was that in the realm of spirit, or I'm going to say in the realm of the heavens, a lot's gone on in the heavens that hadn't shown up on earth yet. That's why we like to say this thing, let it be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Say it. Let it be done in my earth just as it is in my heaven. Mm-hmm. So that's why we're here, is how do we get what's already been done in our heavens, how do we get it to show up where we live in our earthly life in some way? So 2,000 years ago, I think in the realms of the heaven or spiritual, that the need of karma was totally removed 2,000 years ago. Now, the time something from heaven, which is a whole different frequency, oh my God, the frequency of heaven, and time it uses vibration as a spectrum and lowers itself down to the causal, the etheric, the catheric, the causal, astral, mental, emotional, etheric. I mean, all of that is a slowing down of what started up here in the heavens of yourself. And that's what your crown chakra is for. Your crown chakra is what connects you with your heavens. Heaven comes through the crown chakra. But boy, wouldn't you love for that to shoot down from the crown chakra, go by the third eye, go through the throat, into the heart, into the solar plex, and then roll out where you live. But unfortunately, it loses in the interpretation of changing its vibration. By the time it gets down here to drive cellular development, you end up with an inferior body than the blueprint that started in creation. Creator would not create anything less than itself. Why would it create an inferior body? What a ridiculous belief. My body is created by God. Well, I'll tell you what, I need a different God, thank you. So something has happened. Something was lost in the translation as it used density to change its form. So I think that the universal mind in the teacher knew that it was going to take approximately 2,000 years before this perfect blueprint made it all the way down into the physical level. You know what religion calls that, fundamental religion? The coming of Jesus. The second coming of Jesus. They don't understand. They don't understand it's coming in energy and vibration and in frequency. It seemed to have happened to him because he said, touch me. Go ahead. This thing that's in me is not just in me, but the thing that's in me has become me. Even death can't hold my cellular body down. Now, I'm not talking Christian dogma here. I'm talking about metaphor. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about the fact that if you get the divine blueprint of your heavenly body to rechange the blueprint of your human body as it is, it will change the vibration of cellular development and raise the frequency of your body out of its state where not even illness, sick, or death itself can touch the physical body. And I know that's a big statement, and I may die teaching it, but I will continue to teach that the body will overcome the last enemy, death. So quit glorifying death, because it's not a glorifying thing. And maybe that's why we need people like this to study, to help people to go through the process, because people need assistance to go through this transition of the thing called death. But I'm not glorifying it. It is not my answer out of here. My answer out of here is change my vibration and my frequency. It's looking up, not over. I'm just a little wild today, aren't I? But what I'm trying to say, what happened in the heavens at that transcendent place beyond time-space continuum, by the time it hits dense, it slows down what is the most relative to us, and that's time. Time is relative. Not only is it an illusion, as Einstein said, it is relative. I'll guarantee you if we all started at point A and was going to B, every one of you would have a different experience of getting from A to B. Some would say, man, I got there just like that. Some I thought I'd never going to get there. Every one of you would have a different experience of how you're experiencing time. So the universal mind in the teacher said, okay, this is going to take approximately the whole age of Pisces to get these people to a place where they can finally be at a level of consciousness to receive what's been done in their heavens into their earth. Timed it out for 2,000 years to the age of Aquarius. Do you see where you are? Are you following me? Now, there's a definition in the Bible that says one day is as 1,000 years with God. That's in the Bible. One day is 1,000 years. So we're only 2 days away. You think, well, 2,000 years, why did it take so long? A couple of days. And then he said this, on the third day, I will raise you up. Feel that? You should feel some chills on that. You're in the third day. You finished the 2 days. You're in the third day of raising you up in vibration and frequency. Wow, what a time to be alive. Forget the news. Forget all the crap they're telling you out there, and be excited and look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. I'm expecting a breakthrough any day, because the sun is peeking through the clouds, the storm clouds, and shall shine upon those. So 2,000 years ago, that was done away with, but it's taken 2,000 years of us repeating old patterns to finally come to a level now that we are ready to possibly enter into a state of consciousness in which we can do away with certain inventions, I'd like to say, that we have made of how that we get from here to there, and really there is no there, because every time you get there, you're still here. Huh? I stand here and I want to get back here where Janice is, and so I'm here and I want to get there. I get there, and now I'm here and I want to get where Rhonda is, so I have to get there, and there's always another there when you're here. So just stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Kind of idea here. Now, when did this happen? See? Christian dogma is coded. You threw it out. Go get it out of the trash can because you didn't even get what it meant in the first place. I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe this. I don't believe that. You didn't even understand it. How did you not believe it? You don't believe it because you heard some preacher preach it in hate and judgment and prejudice. That's when you didn't believe it. But how many of you took that you don't believe and looked it up in Hebrew or looked it up in Aramaic or looked it up and studied it for yourself and then came to a point to say, I don't believe it? No, you just didn't believe it and you don't realize what you threw away. So, here's when it happened. For he taketh away the sin of the world. Not sins. He took away the sin of the world. You can say he took away all karma out of the world, and the heavens were open to enter into a spiritual state in which there was no original sin in the first place. For sin is not original in creation, it's only original in the minds of man.
Wow, true.
Very good.
I'm sorry, I'm not qualifying anything that I can trace back to a man or a woman, as far as that's concerned, to a human. If it's not original in my heavens, it does not get qualified. And I do not believe I was born and my original state is sin. I believe my original state is blessing. And I give you this wonderful scripture. I've never heard it preached in a church yet. For we were found in him before the foundation of the world, found holy and blameless with all spiritual blessings before the foundation of the world. What's original? Blessing, not sin. That's your inheritance. Claim it. So anyway, the sin, of course, means missing the mark. We know all of that. And let me give you this wonderful line out of the course that I love. One moment of grace burns all karma. Just feel that. Just feel that. Don't think it over. A moment of grace burns all karma. So what I'm getting from today's lesson, which is not at all, well, I was going to talk on karma today, but I guess I'm not. You know, I don't follow the plan. The outer plan. The Holy Spirit's got the plan in me, and I just let it do what it needs to do. But I think what's coming through today for us to take from this class today, from this talk, lecture, whatever you want to call it, is you are here for not only a transaction, you've entered into transition and transaction. You're renegotiating. You go out, you like a house, you want to buy the house, you really want it, but the deal's not good. What do? You negotiate. See if there's a place that you can meet. In fact, Some Energetics is in that place right now of negotiating as a business. And today we meet to negotiate again, to see how much they want to give, how much do we want to give, because we got to find that place. And when that place is achieved, then all of the transaction is done away with, and I'm getting ready for the transition. Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah. When the transaction is over, the papers are signed, it is done, and both parties have come together. Now you're ready to move in. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to move into my higher self. I'm ready to move into my healthy self. I'm ready to move into my happy self. I'm ready to move into my prosperous self. I'm happy to move into that which I've been created to be.
And you're going to find out you've already been there for a good long while.
Yeah.
Good point. All right. Well. I always never know how it's all going to work out, but I want to thank you all. I want you to know we made our budget.
Oh, good.
That is a miracle. We were about $4,000 behind Sunday, and we have made the budget.
Somebody must have kicked in big.
No, it's just a lot more people out there online,
Oh, online, yeah.
and people here did a little extra and showed up. And wow, isn't that amazing? That's really amazing. So I just wanted you to know that all is well. Yeah. I just want to move out of survival of the budget into the thriving of abundance.
By the way, I'd love to know, what is the passage about the, that you quoted, that they don't quote at church, about you were here with me before the,
Foundation of the world.
do you remember?
Ephesians 1:3, I believe. It's either 1:3 or 3:1. I'm dyslexic, so if it's not 1:3, it's 3:1. Ephesians, the book of Ephesians. It's a great scripture that shows pre-existence. Okay, thank you. We appreciate your support. We begin a new month today. So you are the seat.
It's the 31st.
Oh, that's right. Tomorrow's the first. Okay, well, you're going to end up a month.
Not make it any faster than it is.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth?
It gives time for that extra blessing to come in.
We're very honored and glad to have a special visitor back there. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name. It's Jabril. Beautiful name. Thank you for being here today as a friend of Mark's. Thank you, Mark, for bringing. Thank you. You're certainly welcome anytime. Come be with us. Let's take, we have a few minutes, so we'll just take a moment to let the dust settle. Let your mind settle. Seed only takes root in fertile ground. Your ground is your consciousness. I ask you to receive the seeds of what is resonating as true to you today in the talk. Bring it into your house, your temple, and lay it up on the altar of higher self. Say to your innermost teacher, teach me from within myself. For David is not my source or teacher, but only my facilitator, assisting me to know that I am the truth. And when I know that I am the truth, I am set free from all the illusions about myself. Everything that I think of myself that does not originate in creation. As we take a deep breath and exhale. And now as we breathe in with the intent of taking in the new energy, holding it for just a second, exhaling anything that is no longer serving me for my highest and best good. Continue to follow your breath in the new, out the old. As you return back to the awareness of your breath, allow your breath to bring you back into the awareness of this room, feeling clear, rejuvenated, energized for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and the rest of your life if you want. Choose life today. Choose health. Choose peace. Choose happiness. Choose contentment. You are the center of your power. Say it with me. I am the center of my power. And so it is. Dolores is here.
Yeah.
How many of you know Dolores?
I do.
Oh my God.
As soon as she came in.
Dolores is in the house. I saw her on Facebook the other day and I just thought about you so much, and then you called and talked about renting the place. So here you are.
Spirit's been touching.
Valeria, she's a very, very, very unique, special person. I've always appreciated her presence and her energy every time I've ever been around her. So good to see you. Thank you.
It's wonderful to be here.
Great. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Lynn, always for the yoga.
Let's stop in the car. I'll get you over there. I got to see in the car.